Hi guys. Hello. Let me just, I don't know, make sure everything looks good. Okay. Seems pretty good to me. Hello everyone. If you're here, go ahead and drop an emoji or say hello. I'm getting on here to do a live on intonation, which is basically tuning your instrument. And I'm going to be talking about the flute today. Anna is going to talk about clarinet and also saxophone later this week, so stay tuned for that. But if you do play flute, feel free to hop on. We're going to go over some stuff. Hello, somebody just joined, so welcome. We're going to talk about intonation today, so feel free to say hello. Okay, let's get started. Also, let me know if you're having trouble hearing me. I moved the location of my microphone to try and make it better. All right, so let's dive into intonation. Hi, Anna. Somebody else joined too. If you want to say hello, that'd be awesome. I'd love to know who's here, or drop any questions you have in the chat about tuning the flute. All right, so first off, I'm going to just talk about what even is tuning. All right, thanks, Anna. All right, so tuning the flute is basically like let's say you want your B flat to sound like this. And sometimes it's sounding like, instead of sounding like this, it's sounding like this. Or so you can hear there's a really big difference in pitches. So you can either be sharp or flat, or in tune. So, you know, if you're a little bit more of an advanced player, you might know like, oh, I like to tune to 440. It doesn't really matter where you tune to. Most people tune to like 440-ish, 441, 2. Baroque people tune to what, like 415. So anyway, it just depends on where you want your notes to sit. So I'm basically going to talk about how to tune this thing so that you can get the pitch that you want. So the obvious way to tune the flute is to pull the head joint in or out. So you might have experienced this in like a community band or something, like, oh, I'm sharp today, I'm going to pull out. So you pull your head joint out a little bit. Or I'm really flat today, so I'm going to push in. Basically, by pushing the head joint in and out, you're making the entire flute longer or shorter. So if you make the entire flute longer, your sound is going to go down, it's going to become flat. If you push in and make the flute shorter, it's going to be more high pitched. You guys know how short the piccolo is? Like this long. So, and that's a very high pitched instrument. Same kind of thing. So, there we go. That is how you're going to tune your flute, but there's more to it, and I'm going to give you one more tip. There's like a million tips about this, so if you guys want more information on intonation, just let me know. I would love to do more videos on this. You could really go very much in depth. So one thing that really affects your tuning is the embouchure hole. So you want to have about a third of the embouchure hole covered with your lips. If you find that a lot of the embouchure hole is covered, like you can barely see any of it, you might be too rolled in. And you know what happens when you roll in too much is the pitch goes down. So if I roll in, the pitch drops like a lot. And then if you're too rolled out, like, all right, there's my normal spot, the pitch goes up. So you want to make sure that your embouchure hole is 1/3 covered, 2/3 open. And that is going to help with that. Hello, I see we got a new person joining, so feel free to drop a comment or ask a question about tuning the flute. Okay, so that covered the first couple of questions we got. And the last question I got was about high F sharp. So we're talking about the third octave F sharp fingering like this. And the question is, I think how to make that note not sound bad. Because it's one of those notes that just cracks easily. The other note that we have on the flute is that middle E. That's a note that likes to crack too, as well as the high E. So the E's, the F sharps, they all are kind of in that cracking category. So my advice for the F sharp, because the F sharp does tend to run a little sharp, is to really think about blowing down. So I like to do this hand demonstration thing that you guys might have seen, but you basically put your middle finger on your nose, back it away from your face about 7 or 8 inches, blow into your hand, and then think about, okay, where is my air making contact with my hand? And most of the time you would want your air to go into the center of your palm. For high F sharp, I would aim like at your wrist, because blowing down is really going to help with the pitch by making it more stable. The problem with high notes, and this is also a problem with high E, is that these fingerings are kind of just like fingerings that have been built over time because they sound the best. So the flute is built on a harmonic series. Really, to get the F sharp, the high one, you just need to overblow the low one. But you guys know that isn't really super easy to play, right? It sounds like a harmonic. So, over time people have discovered, like, oh, if I lift my middle finger, it sounds much better. Oh, and also, if you have a Mac, the email notification thing, I'm getting a lot of emails about our workshop next week, which is exciting. Oh my God, we're so excited for that. But the email notification on a Mac is an F sharp. It's a little flat though. So anyway, that F sharp blowing down is really going to help, and also loosening up your lips is really going to help. The thing about high notes, and I was saying this before, before I got an email, is the fingerings are wacky. Look at this. You've got a closed key. Well, this one's open, this one's open, this one's closed, 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 open, open, closed. When you have like varying open and closed keys, the sound gets automatically less stable. For example, B is a pretty stable note, B flat, is a note that we learn first. So, and C is also pretty stable, G is pretty stable, and all of these notes have like all closed and then all open. So notes that have that are stable. When you have open, closed, open, closed, open, closed all over the flute, it starts to become less stable. And F sharp is one of those notes. So it might be difficult to tune. It might be difficult to not get it to crack. And also, if your notes are cracking, everyone else's notes are cracking too. It's normal. So don't be concerned about that. Just make sure that your embouchure is nice and loose. Everything can have as much flexibility as possible. Also, that you're not too rolled in. Yeah. Okay. So actually, that was all the questions I got for intonation. Anyone else have any questions? I will kind of just hang out here for a few more seconds to see if I get any. But anyway, tuning the flute is so much fun. And it's also super important for playing with others. So if you guys are playing, either if you're recording things virtually with other people or you're playing in person with other people, super important to learn how to play your instrument in tune. And even more importantly than that, to learn how to adjust your intonation so that you can be in tune with anybody. Yeah. Also, I have some really fun tricks for tuning with a piano that are super cool. So, all right, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. If you guys have any questions about intonation following this video, feel free to just drop them in the comments. We're also going to put this up on YouTube, so you could drop them in the YouTube comments as well. And also just reach out to us, either in our Facebook group or in our DMs or our email address, which is, hello@virtualwoodwinds.com. We'll put that in the video link. But we would love to hear from you. We love answering your questions, and everybody, happy Valentine's Day. Have a great one.